Why it's time to end the filibuster. The filibuster is often portrayed as a vulnerable institution, the soul of the Senate, a guardrail against tyranny of the majority, and protector of minority rights. But the truth is, the modern filibuster is neither original to the founding nor necessary for good government. Instead, it has become a perpetual tool of obstruction that undermines accountability, delays critical legislation, and empowers a small minority to veto the will of the people. A brief history. The roots of the filibuster go back to 1806 when the Senate adopted rules change on advice of then Vice President Aaron Burr that the removed previous question motion that changed unintentionally opened the door for an unlimited debate, what we now call a filibuster. The first actual filibuster didn't occur until 1837, more than 4 decades after the founding. For over a century, the filibusters remain rare. But by the early 20th century, as the Senate grew larger and more active, extended debate began to frustrate legislation. In response, and after strong criticism, the Senate imposed a cloture rule in 1917, Rule 22, allowing debate to be cut off, but only with a supermajority, then 2/3 of senators voting. Even so, cloture was invoked rarely, 5 times over the next 4 decades. Filibusters remained powerful. Southern senators frequently used them to block civil rights legislation, including efforts to pass anti-lynching bills or voting right protections. In 1975, the Senate lowered the threshold. Cloture now required 3/5 of all senators, 60 out of 100, instead of 2/3 of senators voting. Then in 2010, both parties chipped away further at the filibuster. In 2013, the filibuster was removed for executive branch and lower court judicial nominations. In 2017, it was removed for Supreme Court nominees. Today, almost any majority legislation, including election laws, reform bills, and other priorities, remain hostage at a 60-vote threshold. Why the filibuster no longer serves the Republic and must go. 1. It's not part of the Constitution. It's a historic accident. The framers of the Constitution did not establish the filibuster. It emerged decades later as an unintended consequence of procedural tinkering. 2. Empowers a minority to override the majority, denying accountability. With 41 senators to determine minority can block virtually anything. That means when the majority party wins elections, the will of the people can still be thwarted by a small, unaccountable bloc. In effect, the filibuster grants a perpetual veto to the minority, antithetical to majority rules. 3. It leads to gridlocks, delay, and legislative paralysis. Since the mid-1970s, use of the filibuster has skyrocketed. Cloture motions, votes to end debate, have ballooned. In the past 2 decades, more cloture motions have been filed than in the preceding 80 years combined. The result, Congress moves slower, bills get delayed or die, the urgent policies are blocked. It undermines democratic accountability and prevents the majority from fulfilling its mandate. When political shifts procedures a new majority, whether for election reform, border enforcement, tax policy, or regulatory rollback, the minority can still stall or kill laws. This deprives voters of meaningful results. The filibuster gives an outsized voice to a vanishing minority, not the people who actually won the vote. 5. The 2010's precedent already shows the Senate works without it. When the filibuster was removed for nominees, the government functioned. Cabinet members were confirmed, courts staffed, administration agencies filled. The precedent suggests the Senate can operate with simple majority votes when needed. What ending the filibuster could unlock, especially for the conservative priorities, Ending the legislative filibuster would restore majority rule and give newly empowered majority the ability to enact significant reform for a conservative majority that could mean passing election integrity laws, border security measures, tax cut, regulatory reform, and other policies that reflect the will of the voters. It would also force true accountability. When legislation passes or fails, it would be clear which party made it happen, not hidden behind procedural roadblocks. Moreover, it will prevent a minority from permanently blocking the democratic will and restore faith in a functioning legislature, one that acts efficiently rather than delays indefinitely. In short, abolishing the filibuster is not a power grab. It's an act of restoring democratic governance, majority rule, and legislative effectiveness. Let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Bullhorn Betty channels. Thank you.